Cool, man.
Cool
Let's
setup.
give it a cheers. Get
Cheers,
this thing
mate.
started, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, Aiden, and been trying to sort of organise it for a little while, but sort of maybe waiting till you'd sort of ventured into your new project a bit longer.
Yeah, it's been a while, eh?
That's cool that you've changed sort of what you're doing and stuff. I think that's pretty interesting
Yeah.
to talk to someone about that. So I'm sure
Coming
we'll
over
get into that a bit later. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, talk about like why I came from like dub to house.
Yeah, because
What I used
that's it's interesting. A lot of people, a lot of people go that way, but then some people go the opposite, where they start more in like the EDM, sort of easier listening, sort of more familiar sort of music, and then move into the harder genres and stuff. So
it was hard, like mixing, because I remember I sent you my first songs. Yeah, and it was mixed like a dub song. It was like crushed.
Yeah,
and just destroyed.
Yeah, it was like the
and
mix and the master. Yeah.
And I was just like, what the hell? Like, it's so different. Like, I got to not worry about getting it so loud.
Yeah.
Instead, just to actually think about dynamics.
Yeah.
It's funner though. I like it a lot better.
They're just different.
They're just different genres. Like the mixing
of
dubstep is like the sound as well. Like it's part of the actual like song. It's not all about like loudness in dubstep is the same as like drums. It's just part of it.
Yeah.
Like
it's got to be.
It kind of works with the sound. I don't think it would sound as good not just smashed.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be just a different yeah, just because those sounds.
It's not intense. It's good.
Yeah, that's the whole vibe. Is that it should be intense. So that's why you got to
like your sound design.
Yeah,
I was a bit over like sound design, so I was like, oh, it's just like a chore.
Yeah, just coming up with like squelchy, random, harsh sounds and resampling and resampling.
Yeah, I'm not my biggest fan of that.
Yeah,
I'd rather like my sound design now is like so simple.
Yeah,
it's just like saw waves.
Yeah,
and it's all literally that's all it
basic
is.
Stuff. Yeah,
and the occasional respace.
Yeah, and then just trying to come up with the groovy. It's all about that groove though. Hey,
yeah, like the flow. That's what I struggled with as well coming over.
Yeah,
I would just it was real like regimented almost. And then when I finally got into like flows and like how like all your percussion works with the bass line and everything, I was like, man, this is sick. So much better than I thought.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
Just more intricate than you actually like. You hear like house music or tech house and stuff, and people just go, "Oh, it's so simple and basic."
Oh, it's just drum and clap. And you're like, it's not.
It's not.
There's so much more.
You can't hear the things in the background. It's
yeah.
Like, well, if you can't hear them while they're there, it's like, oh, you can hear them though, but you can't hear them.
You can hear when they're not there.
Yeah.
You take it out and you know it's missing, but you can
just like energy or there's something to it. Yeah.
You just feel it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's fun to make.
So talk about what you used to do then, like your dubstep and stuff. Because I remember I saw you were doing pretty well in that scene as well. I'd seen you'd had some just remixes and stuff that you'd done that you'd seen people play at festivals and stuff. Like I think some big names and stuff. I remember seeing that.
It got like some of my songs. I got like over 100,000 plays. Like it was doing really good. I just like I said, it was like a chore.
Yeah,
just wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah.
I didn't like I like playing. It's fun. I didn't like playing dub though.
Yeah.
And I was just, I don't know, I wanted something different. I wasn't enjoying opening up FL and then making it. It was just like, oh, I can't be bothered to sound design today.
Yeah. You just want to jump in.
And I always make a lot of different genres. I only really release.
Because didn't you just do a drum and bass?
Yeah.
Remix or something?
Yeah, like Jamie XX.
Yeah.
Like a bootleg of it.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was cool. I remember listening to that going, oh, drum and bass, that's a bit different. But
yeah, I don't know why I made drum and bass.
Why
just
not?
Felt like it. I was
drum and bass is awesome, man.
Because the vocals in that are so weird and like choppy. I was just like, it just got the idea for drum and bass. Yeah. I was like, whatever. So I just made it real weird and made the vocal like the main idea of like the drop.
Yeah.
And it just worked. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, I remember listening to it thinking, that's a cool little drum and bass remix there. Caught me by surprise too.
I was happy with the response I got.
Yeah.
Like I got a lot of people messaging me about it. And I was like, what the hell? Like I've heard it that many times and I'm like, I don't even like it anymore.
That's how it is with everything.
And I'm like, oh, it's not that good. And people are like, this is sick. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. That's like when you've just worked on that, when you work on a tune for like so long and you're just over it.
Or you just hold on to it for ages.
Yeah.
And then you make better stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I hate this.
Yeah. But then you show someone and they like, come over and it's like, oh, check this out. And they're just like, man, that is sick. Like, you gotta put that out. Like, how can I get this? And it's like,
I'm like, no, I can hear a little bit of distortion in the mix. What no one else can hear. So never releasing it.
Yeah. No, that's it. I think we spent like 2 hours trying to figure out why a piano was distorting in a remix that I was doing the other day. We're like, it shouldn't be distorting. And I was like, let me check the original stems. And it turns out the stems that I was sent had some distortion in it. So that's what it was. So we spent
part of the actual recording.
We're like, is it this? Is it this? And then it's like, it's not that it had distortion, but it was just a super hot signal. It was like, sort of had a few times when it was sort of clipping almost. Like, so yeah, we went back and
that happened the other night. I spent a whole afternoon and night, like I think 3 or 4 days ago, just on a mix.
Yeah.
Oh, it was driving me I was getting so angry. And then I'd turn it off and I'd come back and I'd do something and then I'd come back and I was just getting so mad. And then I was like, when I went to bed, I was like dreaming about it and everything. It was so bad. It was just, and then I woke up in the morning, listened to the original, what I originally had, and it was so much better. And what I spent the whole day on.
That's the worst when you do
like,
all this
oh my
work
God.
and then you listen to what you've done. You're like, oh man, I made it sound worse. And sometimes it'll be just one little thing then.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and look at your project and then it's like, oh, I'm clearly using too much saturation. Or,
Literally today. I went on there today and the sidechain was, for the bass, wasn't on. I don't know why I just turned it off. And it was affecting the kick and distorting. And that was the only problem.
Yeah.
And I just didn't even pick up on it for like 12
hours.
It's
always that little
oh my
thing.
God.
And then you just kick yourself the next day when you look at it and you see.
It's kind of good though.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm the worst producer in the world. I hate this. I quit. And then the next time, I'm like, it's all right.
I'm not.
It's pretty good.
So what was your original project called? The other one that you had?
Plain Sight.
Yeah.
It was called that.
And so that was sort of, going pretty well and you used to play a little bit here and there
Yeah,
as well.
and then I was playing like at Havoc and then I stopped playing there. I just stopped going out really and stopped playing shows. And I wasn't really into like, it was getting really heavy, which is, and I just not into that really.
It did start to get really, like, I remember like, a lot of the stuff used to be, even like, Bicky Factory back in the day and that, like it wasn't super heavy ages ago. And then it's just slowly gotten, for me, it was when that hybrid trap sound started coming in.
Yeah, well,
I think, and that really pushed that heavy sort of
I kind of like
thing onto everyone.
Hybrid trap and making it, but if you played that at like a Havoc, you'd probably clear the floor. Like they just don't want to hear that, which is like fine.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't really into making like the real heavy dub because it's like crazy sound design. I didn't really want to play anymore either. So I kind of like stood back just to get I wasn't that confident in my production either. So I just wanted to kind of work on it.
Even though you were doing well.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. Like I look at one of the projects and like for the master, I have like OTTs on like the master and that. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Just
but was that, like you said, that was kind of a little bit part of the sound too, though?
Yeah, well, that was also just because I didn't know what I was doing then.
Yeah. And
now
OTT
I would never do
makes
that.
everything loud.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, man. I'm going to get signed to a label with this. And it kind of worked.
Yeah. So how did you get into music then? Like, let's take it back to whenever it started for you. Was it something growing up or
I think
later on?
I think I've always been doing it. I know I did music in school. Like I played instruments, but like barely.
Yeah.
Like I played bass and drums, but if I had a bass guitar and drums now, I wouldn't be able to do anything on it. Like, so I don't know if I did, but I've always done something. And then in like high school, kind of just like got in, my friends were DJing. They were playing all like the Blockhouse stuff.
Yeah.
So like I was like kind of into that, just like watching them do it and just like really enjoying it. And they were throwing parties and that. And then I heard like Excision Dubstep. I was like, holy shit, this is like Transformers music. Like so cool. We're going to make it.
Yeah.
Downloaded FL, like so bad. Just the worst things I've ever done. And
well,
it just kind of went from there.
Started. So.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, this is sick. Look, I got a Transformer vocal and it's just horrible. I wish I still had them though.
That'd be fun to just take some little snippets and
just to see how far I've come.
Yeah.
Like,
it's always good as well.
I remember like I had vocals from that movie Snatch.
Oh, yeah.
Of like the bad mafia dude like saying stuff and I was like, oh yeah, this is sick. This is so cool.
Yeah.
It's like so cringy now.
Yeah, that's it, eh? Like you always look back on like your older stuff, like especially near the start, and you're like, oh man, that was bad. Like or you just you're always your own worst critic.
Even like 2 years ago, I hear that stuff now. I'm like, oh my god, what was I doing?
Yeah, even stuff like last year, I'm like, oh man, like should have fixed that bit.
Stuff like a day ago.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh man, that's so. What am I doing?
Always. So you started producing then?
Yeah,
that was
first, like 10 years ago.
So before DJing.
Yeah, I never really been like a big DJ.
Yeah,
like it's more production.
Yeah,
DJing was only for about a year, but I was producing then like literally like 10 years ago.
Yeah, cool.
Started just as like a hobby, just like on and off.
Yeah,
nothing really serious.
And
especially
FL,
it was
on FM from the start. Yeah,
it was around like the time where like Skrillex came out, so everyone was trying to like all the YouTube tutorials were like, oh, like this is how you do the Skrillex like bass. And it's just Skrillex bass, modern talking and massive, and it's like, oh, that's not it.
yeah.
And it was just like that's all YouTube was. So I was like kind of just as like a hobby, not really like thinking anything of it. Just always did it.
So that means like if you started sort of back then, even if it was sort of a hobby in that, a lot of people who started a long time ago and that are more sort of like use Massive a lot more. Than like, Serum's huge now and but like back in the day Massive used to be big. So is that something that you use a fair
No,
not really?
Use it at all.
Did you use
as soon
it
as
back
Serum
then?
came out? Yeah, I used it then. And then when Serum came out I was like, this is just so good.
Yeah.
And then I got the Massive wavetables in Serum. So I was like,
same
whatever.
thing.
Like I love it. Yeah, Serum's so good. I never really liked Massive. I don't know why. Just wasn't the biggest
Just
fan.
a different. I think it's just the interface and the way it works.
I guess.
Serum's a lot easier to understand just with some of the like, you know, like visual stuff. I think
drawing in like the LFOs and Serum, and then going back to Massive, and having to use it the performer in it. I was like, ugh, I don't want to use this.
Good. I haven't played with the new one either. I don't know if it's any good though.
No, I heard had a lot of hype. I saw, and then it kind of just fizzled out a bit. Everyone just went back to like Phase Plane or Serum.
Yeah.
I haven't used Phase Plane though.
No, I haven't used it either. Storm keeps talking about that. Graveyards.
Yeah.
But I'm getting into some like just weird ones, like just different ones, just for fun to have a look. I've been loving Subboom Bass, which is a Rob Pappen synth. It's one that's used by a heap of tech house dudes, so you probably enjoy some stuff on that.
Steal it.
Yeah, he's like, I better write that down. I'll show you it later. Thorn as well, Dimitri Shet.
I haven't heard that either.
We just actually got the Plugin Alliance like bundle, like everything in it. Like you pay the subscription. And and that comes in that, and there's like heaps of cool shit. But I had that before, and it's really cool because it's got some features a lot don't have. It's got like a glitch matrix built in, like sequencer.
Really?
With like a glitch matrix, and then it's got like a harmonic filter. I'm still not 100% on how it works, like what it actually does, but I'm pretty sure it's like an EQ but for harmonics instead of just EQing out the whole sound, as far as I know. But it's interesting. It just gives you another option and flexibility. It's like having another filter.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's.
I've been
cool.
using Synplant.
Yeah.
Do you like that? Have you seen that?
Is that the one with the like you plant?
Yeah, it's like a little seed in the middle, and then you got the leaves come out. It's so cool.
I don't have it, and I've never used it, but I remember I wanted to get it for a while because I heard that this was ages ago.
Yeah.
Heard that Flume.
Yeah, that's literally why I got it.
Yeah,
Flume and Watson are like, oh man, we use this thing called Synplant, and I was like, I gotta get it.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, and then I was trying to find it for ages, and I was like, I was trying to find a free copy, so I was like looking around, I couldn't find one, so I didn't.
It's cool going through its presets of like Synplant and hearing literal like Flume sounds, like iconic sounds. You're like, oh my god, he used it. It's so cool. Yeah, it's fun. I use that. I use a bit of Silent.
Yeah,
I like that one. It's good.
Some basics.
Just real basic stuff.
Silent's good for that because it's got mainly those basic sounds there. Yeah,
I'm just so like competent in Serum now.
Yeah,
even though all I do is just like use saw waves.
That's it, man. Once you get used to what you know what you're used to or what you're good at.
Yeah.
Just stick with it if you can make all the sounds.
Yeah, I don't want to. I like the idea of keeping my stuff as minimal as possible.
I actually enjoyed when my laptop like got wiped, even though I lost a heap of projects I wanted that were pretty sounding really awesome. But it was actually cool to be able to reinstall everything and sort of go, man, I never used that. Like, I'm not going to put that on there. Like,
that happened to me literally a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like I updated the BIOS on my computer and just stuffed it up. I don't know what I did. And then it was just in this boot cycle. And I was like, oh, I got to reinstall Windows. I mean, I probably could have saved it, but I was like, I kind of wanted to like wipe it.
Yeah.
I was procrastinating all these projects that I weren't really happy with.
Yeah.
I was like, screw it, they're gone. And then like just kept the main ones that I really liked.
Yeah.
And it was just like installing it all and just installing what I wanted and it all being fresh and then kind of making my stuff again from scratch was kind of really good.
Yeah. Did you lose like other stuff though? Like, did you lose like, I remember you told me a while back you made a heap of your own like percussion loops and stuff.
Yeah,
like, did you lose stuff like that or no?
Luckily, I backed them up on my I have a hard drive backup, and I also have it's like Google Drive Sync. So like every time I select folders on my computer that I want to back up like all the time. So like every time I click save, it like updates it. So I had that. So I wasn't really fussed, but it didn't go all the way back as far as I wanted. So I lost a whole heap of projects. But whatever.
Yeah, that's the worst. So as long as you still got like those tools that you were going to want to use in the future.
Yeah.
Like, like your samples and all that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'll just make more.
I'm
not that fast. I just got to sit down for a day, make like 100 loops, and then I'm happy for like months.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
just
it.
Get it out of the way.
Just another day of something to do though.
Yeah, I always procrastinate that.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I really should make some more loops, and then I don't do it.
And so the first sort of music that got you into producing and that you said was like Excision and sort of the harder sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And you sort of stayed on that train for a while. Before that, what kind of music did you listen to before you found that? Like what was before that? It's always interesting what people, before they get into their dance music and stuff, like what they used to listen
everything,
to.
like Hilltop Hoods. I know just everything my older brother listened to. So like, I know he would listen to like Limp Bizkit and just all that around that era. And I would just be like, because he's listening to it. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah.
So I just copied what he did.
Yeah.
And then I can't really remember that far back, but I think it was just like all that typical like Blink 182, just all of those guys.
Yeah,
And
just like
then
popular sort of like
yeah, just the
rock and,
popular like stuff.
a bit of hip hop and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. That's kind of just, I mean, it's not like pop music, but it's what was sort of popular.
Yeah,
sort
just
of
that
back
kind of
then
just like
for-
the
yeah.
normal. What you think someone like would listen to? And like
Yeah,
I probably
yeah.
listened to. I didn't
Yeah.
really think that much into it back then
Yeah,
until I started getting into production, and then like the Bloghouse was coming out, and my mates were getting it, and I was like, oh, this is so sick.
yeah.
Like
But was that
Ministry of
about-
Sound?
Yeah, Ministry of Sound.
Yeah, I was
Talking
like,
my
this is so
language.
cool.
Yeah. So it was maybe like playing drums and that and bass. Do you think that maybe had a little bit of influence on like liking like more bands and live music and stuff early on, or it's just that
I
you
don't
didn't
know.
really find it?
I don't know. I just didn't. I think I just played instruments because I thought I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to do it, and then didn't really got kind of bored of it. But I always did music at school.
Yeah.
I remember I played the drums because me and my friend were in like primary school. We wanted to like be like the Gorillas too.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I can do drums and everything. And he was playing like violin. He's like, oh, I can do violin in it. And I was like, no, you can't.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? But yeah, no. And then just kind of just did music just a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, nothing really influential until like I was in my late teens.
Yeah.
That's when I started really getting into it.
And do you think, like, has any of that musical stuff that you learnt in high school helped now? Or
No.
What? Yeah,
Not
that's
at
what I
all.
was going to say.
Not at all.
Not at
Like,
all.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe
Um,
drums, maybe.
Yeah, because did you have much music? Do you know much music theory? Or
I
did you
played
learn
like
much?
in like
Isn't
a
it a little
band.
bit for bass and
I don't know
stuff,
any
or-
music theory. I just do it
Yeah.
all the way. I need to learn it. It's kind of annoying me at the moment.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm like, it's kind of holding me back a bit. I kind of just I played in like a school band with like my friends. It was nothing serious. So I played bass.
Yeah.
Just
a
like
bit of
plucked a
fun.
few things and that's it.
Yeah. I suppose
that-
with bass, you just need to know like basic the chords.
I guess. I
you
mean,
know,
that's all
like,
I
just
needed
the-
to know.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I
Just
can't
to
use
get
it.
it going. It's
Yeah,
not,
literally
it's not
just like
too
one
hectic.
note at a time. Just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it's
okay.
not like you need to know
Okay.
chords and stuff
Yeah,
and like,
no,
all that
no.
kind of stuff, hectic stuff.
Just for the song we were playing. And then that was
Yeah.
it really. Then I got into production and then kind of always did it. Some of my friends made like dub with me, but then they all like died off. And then
Yeah, okay.
they went to house like years ago and they're like, come to house. And I was like, no, I'm making
Yeah,
dubstep.
yeah.
Now
yeah.
I'm like here. I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's it. And that's, that's the same with a lot of things. Exactly like you sort of said. You saw, or heard Excision's sort of music and then that's what got you into it.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it takes something to make you get into something or do the switch, which is why I'm interested in your change and like, so it doesn't sound like there was any one specific thing where you went to a festival and heard one song where you were
For
like,
house?
that's
For
sick.
now?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
for
always-
changing. Like, was there...
So some of my best mates I went to school with, the guys who like make house, they live in Melbourne now. So I'd go and my family lives there. So I'd go and like visit my family and hang out with them. We'd always go out and it would just be tech house and I'd have the
Yeah.
funnest time.
Yeah.
And I just love like the whole vibe of it, like just how it's not so like hectic, like you go into like a mosh pit or anything.
Yeah.
It's just really nice. I just really enjoyed it. And then
It's not as serious either, I don't think. Like, it's a bit
no,
more just sort of
it's
chill,
just
like
fun. It's fun.
like...
I'm not
yeah.
saying like dub and night isn't like those. I still go
Yeah.
out to dub events. Like they're so
Oh,
good.
yeah,
like
yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
But it just depends what you want to listen to. And I kind
Yeah.
of find myself liking the vibe of house more than like just the insane like build ups and drops.
Yeah. And you were saying earlier that it's a bit different, like the mixing. It's a bit,
Yeah. Also,
be a bit more
I hate
fun.
having to get my stuff that loud. I find it's so hard. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Big ups to the guys who can do that because it's so hard to get it to like -3 LUFs and all that. Like
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah.
Mine sound like shit if I can get it that loud.
Mm.
But that's kind of annoying. I don't really like doing that.
Yeah.
So like that's why house probably also. It's not
you
about.
don't have to do that.
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
not about
thing,
getting
yeah.
it that loud, so it's a little bit easier as well in
Yeah.
that sense. But then you got to like obviously know like how to make it sound good.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
definitely.
yeah.
Have you found that like when you're actually writing and working on stuff, because I imagine that writing sort of that heavier genres of music and stuff could be quite fatiguing when you're like,
No,
actually producing. Like, is that
it's kind of the same. Like
Yeah?
if you're into the
no
genres and you're
different?
into
Yeah.
it, it's like you just focus on
Yeah.
it. You know what you need to make, and
Yeah.
I just enjoy arranging more than I do sound design.
yeah?
I get
yeah.
really bored of not bored, just frustrated, just using Serum.
Yeah, because
and
it's
that-
just it's
And, like,
not you're not really
resampling all the time. I get
you
a bit
feel like
over
you're
it.
not making much progress.
Yeah.
Like because you can't just hit play and like listen to something then and go,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that sounds sick. Like it's sort of like, oh yeah, I've got one bass hit now that's really cool.
Yeah.
Or like I've got a few bass hits. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I had my good sounds, what I would always use. I was real happy with them.
Yeah.
But then I'd have to like do more sound design. Like kind of how I'm procrastinating making loops right now to use
Yeah.
in my songs. I would do that with sound design.
yeah,
And then I get a bit bored of it. Like I'd rather make loops and sit behind Serum.
yeah, because
And then resample and do all that post-processing stuff.
because making the loops is almost like arranging.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, exactly. So that's yeah, that's cool. And you've always been on FL then, like, you know, because you started on that ages ago.
Last year I was switched to Ableton, and I spent a year like learning Ableton, just while I was like kind of finding my sound.
Yeah,
I was just like, well, I want to maybe learn Ableton to see like if it's good, because everyone's always like, "Why are you using FL? Like it's shit. Go to Ableton."
They're both the same.
And I was like, all right, I'll go to Ableton. I'll see what it's like. And now I'm back on FL. Not because it's better. I think they're both the same. I think they're like both have their flaws. Ableton's got really good like stock plugins.
Yeah.
So I do miss some of theirs, and their racks are just like so much better.
Yeah.
Like FL has a patcher, but you know racks are so easy.
Yeah.
It's so sick.
It's all just drag and drop.
Yeah,
too.
it's so good.
It's so easy to use. Yeah.
But my workful in FL is just so much faster. So
just
because
it's what you've used.
Yeah. So I was like, oh fuck it, I'll go back. But it's cool now knowing that I can open up Ableton and know how to use it.
Yeah.
Like
and that's
pretty competently.
That's really handy for like collabs too and
yeah,
stuff. And that's why I want to learn a bit more FL than I have as well. Like I know basics. I think I started FL was my first door back when I was like 12 or something though. It was
out of like a cereal box or something.
Yeah, well, it used to be called Fruity Loops. Like it still was called Fruity Loops.
I had FL9 was my first, I think.
Yeah.
Fruity Loops 9, now it's at 20.
Yeah, it's hectic.
I mean, they did jump like 10 years. It was like FL12 and then went to 20.
Yeah. just so it sounds like it's like way more
I think it was
intense.
their 20-year anniversary or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, cool.
It's a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah, so I need to learn a bit more FL just so I can work with other people. Like,
well, I prefer when I collab, like if I'm not with the person, to use stems anyway. I don't really I hate getting someone's project and it's like just not set up how I like mine.
Yeah.
And then I like just spend hours rearranging it all.
Yeah, that's true.
Just being a petty.
Like I agree with that, but I'm talking more like if we're in the the same space. Like go to someone else's studio or someone else's place, and they're like they use FL, and it's like I want to be able to be slightly competent, sort of like you are now in Ableton.
Yeah, with
so
Ableton.
that I can actually just go, oh sweet, if the other person doesn't know Ableton, we can sort of work in FL, and I still know a bit of what to do.
I think it's like definitely worth people learning if you're like competent in one door and you're like really good at it. Maybe like try learn another one.
Yeah,
because it helps so much, especially watching tutorials now.
Yeah,
if someone's got Ableton open, like I can watch that and then be like, oh, I can do this in FL.
It doesn't mean that you don't know how to do it. Yeah.
Like I did miss the glue compressor when I went back to FL.
Yeah,
so I bought
like
the Cytomic, the glue, because it's like literally the same one.
Yeah, cool.
Because I was like, oh, I miss that. I want that.
Yeah. What were you using it for? Just compression, or
just like bus compression and all that.
Yeah.
I just like it. I like the stock plugins in Ableton so much more. There are some good stuff in FL, like they have a transient processor, which is like just so handy.
Yeah, that's
FL.
cool.
I love it.
I don't think there's one in Ableton, is there?
You got it in the drum bus.
Oh yeah,
you got that little transient knob
at
the bottom, but it like the one in FL like is really like you put it on, and if you shorten the tail, it like tightens everything up really nicely. So I like can do it on my drums now if I want real tight drums. Yeah, it's just real handy to have.
There's I've got this one called, I can't remember who it's by. What is it? It's called Transify.
Yeah.
Like Transientify, and it's multi-band transient designer.
That's so in depth.
So it's got like low, mid, high, and high bands. You can turn them on and off, and then it's got like attack, decay, so you can like increase the transients, but for that frequency, and you can change the crossovers and stuff. So it's really cool on kicks.
That's pretty cool. I was gonna
say
it's
really good on kicks because you can maybe you want to increase the 100 thump sort of transient, but then there's too much of a click in there or something, so you want to like ease off the real top end of it. So it's real cool to get in and do that kind of stuff.
Sounds cool. Actually, I'll probably look into it.
Yeah, it's a really cool one. But I always use I've had Native Instruments for ages as well. Yeah. So they've got a pretty cool transient.
They've got their, isn't it like Transient Master?
Transient Master.
I wanted that one. That's so good.
Yeah, that one's good too. And then we just, like I said, we just got the Plugin Alliance, and there's just
Transient Master's like the FL one.
Yeah,
it's similar to that. I wanted the Transient Master, but
it's real simple too.
Yeah, it's just really easy.
Decay game.
Yeah, I think it's just like a compressor basically. I'm pretty sure that's all it is.
Yeah, it just changes the transient.
Yeah, and you can just push out the like transient like crazy.
Yeah,
or like bring it in. It's like pretty simple, but
I love using that stuff. And I'll use it on anything instead of going into the synth and changing like some of the attack or decay and stuff. Like you've already got it sort of how you want it. You just want to like shape it a little bit afterwards. I love it for that.
I like doing it if I have like a lot of tails on my drums and for some reason I want like a real tight mix.
Yeah,
I'll put it on and I just turn the decay back. Yeah, and it just everything's like really small and clean.
Yeah, it just nice and tight sort of transients and stuff.
I use it on like everything. I find I was going through my project today and it's on like everything.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, I'm kind of overdoing it a bit.
I used to use I sort of used to use gates a little bit similar.
Yeah,
Like for
yeah, it's
as a
similar.
similar
Yeah,
effect.
yeah.
To try and shorten stuff. But yeah, I think now most of the time for me with like the gate, like the decay, I'll usually try and go back into the synth,
Mm.
or the original stuff and do it. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes you
I always
just want
struggle with gates. I don't know
sometimes you
why.
just want to hear what it's like.
The Ableton's gate is so handy. FL doesn't have one. It's really
Yeah,
annoying. Well, they
yeah,
probably do. If they do, I don't know about it.
yeah,
So I use Fab filters, and I just
yeah.
using
Pro
Ableton's, and then
too,
that
yeah.
I'm like, it's too complex compared to Ableton's. Like, I just want to use that one again. Like,
Yeah,
that's
the
so
Ableton's
so
one's
nice
easy,
to
yeah.
use. They're like stock plugins are just the best.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think Ableton's like. I like the arrangement and the automation FL a lot better.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
it work quicker, and I like the mixing window what you
Yeah.
can bring up. I like that a lot better than in Ableton's.
Yeah. It's just what you get used to
Yeah.
as well. And the thing about Ableton, one of the ones that I love is just like acapellas and stuff, like vocals are really
Yeah.
easy to warp and
Oh yeah, and you got your you can just put it in a sampler and then like drag it all in time and everything. That's good.
yeah.
We
Yeah,
have like
it's-
Edison and ours, but it's not the same.
yeah. I think that's the one thing that I really like, like I've got a few people who I know who use FL or
Mm.
Pro Tools even. And they're always like, "Hey man, I've got this acapella. Can you just warp it for me into this BPM?" Like send me the stem. I'm
Can you
like,
help me?
"Oh yeah, man, I can, but like you should just learn how to like do
Just
it."
download
like-
Ableton. Just get like a trial quickly and then
yeah, just get the
put it
light
in.
version or something and
Yeah.
and do it. Surely you can do it in
I'm
there.
pretty sure you could.
Yeah, and the light version's cheap as.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the things I think. But it's like you said, there's definitely some stuff. I think like how you can do like the patterns and stuff in FL, like you can have little
Yeah,
patterns and stuff, and
especially
then you
just,
can use
like-
it. I think that's a really cool feature,
Especially
as
just
well.
like the drum rack,
Yeah,
but like for everything.
yeah.
Like that's all it is.
Because some people's brains work a bit more
Yeah.
in that sort of a space.
I don't
as
really.
well.
I write everything in MIDI. Well, lately I haven't been actually, but with
Yeah.
my drums, I'll just have it all laid out all in MIDI. With
Yeah.
like each little pattern will be in a different instrument, so I can, if I want to change it out, I can just drag and drop another one in.
Yeah,
Like
I think it's interesting that like it's always that MIDI verse using samples for
Mm.
like drums and things. And I've always been in the mindset of using MIDI because I want to be
Yeah.
able to just change the sample. And like if I don't like my clap or my snare or whatever, I want to be
Yeah.
able to just drag a new sample in and hear it.
yeah.
Whereas if you're just using the actual audio samples, it makes it more difficult.
Well, you
which
can do that in
there,
FL.
I know there is a way to do it
In
yeah.
Ableton, I know you can. I never really looked into it,
Yeah.
but in
You
FL,
hot
you
swap,
can
you
drag.
can change the actual sample it's using.
Yeah, you just
instead,
drag and drop a new sample on your original sample
Yeah.
in FL, and it just changes it to that.
But does it change all of them then?
Yes,
Yeah,
which is kind of annoying. Unless
well-
you like make a unique.
But that's cool because I sort of want to change. That's what I sort of.
Oh, you wanted it?
enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. That's
so
why
like if
people
I've got
use
a
MIDI.
clap in the
Yeah.
whole track,
You don't have to
I
go
want to
through-
go through and change
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
clap. So I find it interesting when people who I see learning are learning that way, like using the
Yeah.
audio instead of the MIDI, because it's like, oh man, like it's just for me, it's like so counterintuitive to like, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll write a bass line and the clap doesn't work with the
Mm.
bass line for some reason, like it's just the wrong tonal or it just doesn't fit.
I did that
and
the
I
other
wanna change
day.
it,
For some reason, my kick, I usually always do it in MIDI, and it wasn't this time.
Yeah.
And I ended up changing it and had to go through the whole song and just like copy and paste, copy and
Yeah.
paste, copy and paste, and then like move them on to it. It was kind of really annoying.
Yeah,
I was like, I should just use it in MIDI. I don't know why
Yeah.
I'm not.
yeah. Oh, excuse me. I think the best thing that I've found some of the newer stuff in Ableton is how you can just drag audio into a MIDI track and it'll convert it to the MIDI.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. And it works so well. Like I got someone for a school thing at my school,
Yeah.
and it was just literally just a piano recording of them playing something on piano as
Yeah.
backing music for something, and I put it in there, and it like nailed it. And
What,
it was
you put just the audio into the MIDI and it turns it into MIDI.
it turns it
That's
into
crazy,
MIDI.
what the
Yeah,
hell?
all the note, like you can choose whether if it's drums, like just the melody or like harmonies and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like when it first came out and I tried it, it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
But I tried it recently and it was just like, I was just blown away. Like,
I think you can do that in FL,
yeah,
but I don't know how good it is.
yeah.
I feel like I've done it accidentally before.
I mean, I hardly use it, but I use it for this because they were like, oh, because it had like the recording was done
It'd
terribly.
be good for remixes if you wanted to like have like
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
chords or something.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
you have the stem somehow, you just drag it in. You don't
Yeah,
have to, like,
that'd be
ask for 'em.
awesome. And then, and you get all the MIDI data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you can just manipulate that.
But yeah, so because the recording that they'd given me had like hum in the background, it had, you know, like all this reverb and stuff. And they're like, oh, can you just make it sound better? And I was like, oh yeah, hopefully I can do this. And I did it, and then just put like some stock piano or organ or something from Ableton in, and it sounded $1 million, man. Like
sick.
just add a little bit of reverb on the end and just bounced it out. And
They're just like, can you make it sound better? And they're talking in the back. You're like, probably not.
yeah. But yeah, it just worked so well. I was so surprised.
That's sick.
But yeah, it's really, you know, really cool tool to have. For a lot of stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so you should figure out how FL does.
I think I've accidentally done it before and been like, what the hell happened? Like, why have I got MIDI now? And I was like so confused. But I remember that vaguely, some reason, just like accidentally doing it and being just so like lost at what happened and where my audio file went.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell happened?
Like,
why do I have MIDI everywhere now?
That's so funny when you do something in a project and you don't know what you've just done. Like you're like, what? Like,
or you accidentally click somewhere and you know you've deleted something somewhere and you're like, what did I delete?
Or something's turned off somewhere, and you're like, "Where is it? I swear something's turned off." Like, it's definitely not. Yeah,
that's like 90% of production.
Yeah,
just finding what you've done wrong somewhere.
Making sure you've done it wrong. Yeah. So, what's the differences then? Let's talk about some of the differences you've figured out now, and that, because I think that's why we sort of said a while back that you wanted to sort of wait, and that you still wanted to get your feet under you and learn it a bit more and stuff.
I was still like learning what I actually wanted to make in house. Yeah, like, I made bass house, and then I was like listening to Matroda. I'm like, I want to be like Matroda because he's like so good. That guy's insane. And then obviously I'm like, I make stuff, and I'm like, okay, I can't be like Matroda. He's really good.
You want to know something?
What?
Matroda sat in that chair and he's produced.
I saw it. Didn't him and Jackknife like working out?
Yeah, that's cool. In here. Yeah. And it's so funny because I knew like Jack, you know, I already knew Jackknife. I met him. We were on label together ages ago. And at that stage when they came in, I didn't know who Matroda was because I just wasn't keeping up with the whole modern, you know, bass house sort of music or anything. And so he's like, oh yeah, Matroda and that. I'm like, yeah, cool, man, like whatever. Like, and then they like come in like, hey man, yeah, nice to meet you. Like, you know, blah blah blah. And then like they like, oh yeah, like hung out for a bit and stuff, and then they left afterwards. I'm like, I should look up who this Matroda dude is, because I was out here just like doing like a little edit for someone for a mix for some thing, and then I was like, because every now and then I like, take the headphones off and listen and go, man, it sounds pretty sick in there. Like whatever they're making is pretty cool.
This Matroda dude's pretty good.
Yeah. And then they leave and all that. I'm like, I see this later and look him up and I'm like, shit, it's a bit of a big deal. I'm like, I should have got him to sign the bench.
I bet what they made sounds sick. They're both like such good producers.
Yeah.
Jackknife's like blowing up. It's so good to see.
Yeah, he's doing awesome. I don't know if it ever came out or not, but it sounded sick. Yeah. So you started doing the bass house stuff, and then you sort of moved.
Yeah, I was making like the bass house, and I found that I was getting back into the same feeling of when I was making dubstep. I always liked tech house, but I was new. I didn't really know many tech house artists. Like, I just knew the basic, like Chris Lake, like Fisher, Patrick Topping, like all those guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't really know what I wanted to make, and I kept making. I'd make tech house, really enjoy making it, and then I go back, make some more bass house, and we'd be like, oh, didn't really enjoy that. And then hear the song again like a week later and not like it.
Yeah.
And then started making more tech house, less bass house, and now it's like all I make when I make like house is tech house.
Yeah.
I just find it so fun.
Yeah.
I like the arrangement of it. I like mixing it all. But it is a lot different in dubstep. Like polar opposites.
Yeah,
it's like there's tech house and there's dubstep.
So what are some of the big things that you've noticed are different? Like obviously BPM, sound design, like they're very different genres. But if we talk about production and making it, like one of the things you first said is like the mixing and the loudness. It's not so much.
It's not even like, it's so much louder dubstep.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot. So like I had to get my head around that. I was mixing tech house like dubstep, so I was squashing everything. And I wasn't the best at mixing dubstep, so like it was sounding pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I knew something was off. Like I could hear it. I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like maybe I shouldn't make it as loud. And slowly over time figured out that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Just like it was mixing. That's a big difference. The sounds are not as like crazy.
Yeah.
It's not really based around the sound design. Dubstep's like the sickest sounds you can have. Like like Marauder right now, like his sounds are insane. Yeah. And everyone's like, I want to do that. Like Sudden Death with his Void project in dubstep at the moment. Like that's cool. And there's all that sound coming out at the moment. And tech house is more about like the bass lines, I found, and like the grooves and like the feeling of it.
Yeah.
And the arrangement's completely different as well.
Yeah.
Like they're longer, whereas dubstep's like intro, build up, drop, like bridge, intro, and then like build up, drop again.
Yeah.
Whereas like tech house is like you add shit as it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And I really like that idea of it.
Yeah.
Keeps it like
sort
interesting.
Of a little bit like progressive in terms of adding stuff as you go along, but not progressive in the terms of how progressive music. Have you ever dabbled in any of the other genres around that sort of, around this sort of area?
Around like tech house?
Like techno.
I made a techno song once. It's pretty cool. I was like really enjoying like putting like reverb and that on the kicks and everything.
Yeah.
Just looking at tutorials of how they did that. I was like, what the hell? I've made like some hard style like before, back when I was making dub and all that.
Yeah.
Kind of like trying to make everything.
Yeah.
I always like I'll get bored of like tech house and I'll be like, I'll make bass house. And I'm like, that's cool. Then I'll get bored of bass house and go back to tech house. Then I'll get bored of that at the moment. And then I'll make like another genre of house, like some more like deep house kind of stuff. And then I'll go back to tech house. And that's just kind of what I do.
Yeah.
Or I'll make lo-fi now.
Genres, yeah. Bit of lo-fi.
I love making lo-fi. It's so fun.
What kind of lo-fi?
Just like real chill. The stuff you would hear
on
like
what? Because there's you can have lo-fi of basically any genre really if you want.
Yeah, like lo-fi, like
a hip hop.
Yeah, like with the off drums, like the 70 beats per minute.
Yeah,
Just really slow, low pass stuff. Yeah,
that stuff's real cool.
It's fun to make,
and it's fun to like. I love listening to lo-fi just as a background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're just doing something somewhere and you just have some background music. I find lo-fi is really good for that.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who love it for study and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
like
where I first heard it.
Yeah.
Like Amy, my girlfriend, she was studying to it, and I was like, man, that's real cool. And my friend who does yoga like would play it, and when we do yoga with her, and she'd be playing like the lo-fi, and I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Like I want to like actually try and make it, and then I did, and like found out like I can actually make it.
Yeah.
So I like started up a little side project.
Oh yeah.
And I've been releasing on that.
What's the side project?
It's called Chester Terrace. It's like a real weird name because me and Amy were like, what are we gonna call it? So we want an artist name generator. Like first name, Chester Terrace. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, that's the one.
That's cool.
We'll pick it. So I've been releasing under that for like 2 weeks. And it's got like 3,000 monthly listeners now, which is pretty sick.
That's sick, man. Do you want to know something really funny? Our studio used to be at Johnny's place, which is at Rochester Terrace. His house is literally on one Rochester Terrace.
We're gonna make an album called Rochester Terrace.
Yeah, like it's literally
that's sick.
Literally on that, and we like when we collab and like sort of work on stuff together, our like little joint project that we haven't really. I don't think we've actually released anything.
Yeah.
But we've got a few tracks and stuff we've sort of written. It's called House of Rochester.
Oh, that's sick.
It's like because it was the house there. So
that's cool,
it's a cool little name. That's pretty funny.
Well, that's like because during COVID I was like, I was producing a lot because I had like nothing else to do. Yeah. So I was like, I always make a lot of genres, but I'd get kind of annoyed at having new songs I've made but not being able to release them because I don't want to release them under Nadia like lo-fi and that.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, I'd be kind of annoyed that like
you got to separate it.
Yeah. I was annoyed that it would be sitting there, and I'm like, and then I'd be unmotivated to make it. So then I was like, I'll make another little alias. I'll just release it, and like I don't care about it. I'll just submit it to some playlist on Spotify.
Yeah.
That I just collected over time.
I've got so many aliases like just saved with nothing done to them. Like, but I've like got the Facebook, the Spotify, and the Instagram. I've got the names all saved. I just stole them. Like, if I ever do anything that suits this alias, I'll.
Well, that's what I did with me and Amy. We got the name, and we're like, I just went on and just got like the Gmail and got like SoundCloud and everything. All the stuff, and I was like, and then a few months passed, and I was like, just start releasing on it.
Yeah.
Like, what can go wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just fun.
And it's going pretty well.
Yeah, it's doing really good. Like a lot better than I actually thought. It's doing better than Nadia at the moment.
Yeah, sick.
But I got it, which is like. Kind of annoying, but also kind of cool.
Yeah. I suppose it's interesting though, because we are in that sort of weird period, I feel, where people would enjoy listening to stuff that's just sort of listening, like easy listening, like we were talking about. Whereas like, like your sort of tech house is definitely much more a club genre than lo-fi. So it's like, people
like
aren't sort of
pretty different also.
Yeah, it's sort of like different sort of vibe, I think, at the moment. But yeah, that's cool that you've got that as well, because it's great to have that other outlet of something.
I always thought like, having an alias would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's like it's actually really easy.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really care about it either, which is kind of probably why it's doing all right. Because I'm like,
if you're trying to push them both real hard at the same time.
This one I don't really care about. I'll make it maybe in like an hour or two, make a song, just do a quick master, export it. That'll be it. And then if there's no distortion, even if there is distortion because it's lo-fi, like sometimes it sounds good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what, this is good enough, to that enough, and I just put it on and just release it on like Spotify and that.
Yeah.
Spend the day when it comes out submitting to playlists on Spotify. Yeah. And that's it. And then that's all I do. And then I just make more and just release them. Like, it's just fun. Give me something.
A good little outlet.
Yeah, something to like keep releasing while I'm like planning stuff around like Nadia and all that. The releases.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting. I was going to ask about the name Nadia, like where you came up with and what it is. And then like I was thinking about it the other day and I instantly was just like, oh, it's just your name backwards.
Yeah, it's my name backwards.
Yeah. For ages I had no idea for so long, like up until like a week ago when I was thinking about it, like man, Nadia, like, what is it? I've got to ask him about that. And I was just like, oh, it's totally, like,
Yeah, I love
just
when people
instantly
do
it was
that.
like clicked. I was like, oh, it's just his name backwards.
My auntie did it when they realized that it was my name backwards. They're like, "Oh my god, this is so cool!" And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's like with, similar with, you probably know Eamon. Nomia. Like, I know,
yeah.
I didn't know that
I
was
realized that
backwards,
when
though.
you were on their podcast and you said that, I was like, "Oh, that's his name, same."
Yeah, I had
That's
no
so
idea.
cool.
I was like, oh, it's his name backwards. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
It's cool.
So yeah, now I understand the name, but what about the original name of your like original project and the plain sight?
I don't even know where that came
Just
from.
came up with one.
I think I was watching like Transformers and like Optimus Prime said like hide in plain sight
Hide
or
in
something.
plain
And I was
sight.
like,
Yeah,
that's
that's
cool.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that? The
Yeah,
annoying thing
cool.
about Nadia is there's like 1,000 Nadias on Spotify.
That's what I was gonna say.
So when you
'cause,
type
like,
it in, you don't see me. But like it's cool because there's only one guy with a beard and it's me.
yeah, because
So
they're
at
probably
least-
all chicks, aren't
yeah,
they? Yeah,
yeah, it stands out a bit.
yeah. Because I think Nadia is like isn't it a techno, chick from
Maybe. No,
Germany? Oh, no,
so
from
many.
Russia or somewhere over there. But yeah, there's heaps.
Well, I got a song coming out next week and
Oh, sweet.
it's
Is
not
it?
it's not on my like upcoming artist because I'm pretty sure they've accidentally put on another artist again. So I'm like emailing them like, oh, is it coming out? Like, is it on my right
so
channel?
they might have stuffed it up and
Yeah,
assigned
put
it
on
to someone
another
else.
90. It's fine if it does that. You just email them before or even when it comes out and they fix it in like a day. Like it's happened before.
Yeah.
I've had random people release on mine as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't make that song. Like, what the hell? And then like in a day, it's gone.
You just get extra
Just
tracks.
take
like-
all the money from the royalties.
yeah,
Yeah, it's funny.
that'd be hilarious. So that happens like a little bit then, yeah.
No, not that often. It's happened with this project. Yeah, not with. Actually, no, it happened with Plain Sight as well.
Really?
Remember, I had like some thing called like In Plain Sight or some reason came up, and I was like, "What's this?" I was real confused. So I didn't know about it then.
Yeah.
But
what
now I know.
could
Hey,
happen-
it's really, you just
yeah,
send them an
understand
email.
it
They
now,
even
yeah.
have like Spotify have a whole like web page to like sort it.
Yeah,
It's like 2 seconds.
It's like because it's probably something that can happen.
Yeah.
I've never had that problem with my name, so
Yeah, I don't know
doubt
if there's a lot
any-
of boy King Kois on
Yeah.
it. There's like 1,000 of them. You're like, what the hell?
yeah. Well, there's not even many King Kois in the world, so that's it's pretty easy to to have that. So, but yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought about the fact that you would have that happen before. 'cause I've
Yeah.
never really
Well, it's
run into
like right. I still haven't. The song's still not even in my upcoming, and I'm like, it comes out next Friday. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, can you sort this quickly? Like,
Yeah. Is that in this Friday, like from now, or the
yeah,
following
this
one?
Friday. So it's a self-release I got coming out this Friday,
Yeah,
which
cool.
I'm pretty keen on. Like, pretty happy with that song.
Yeah.
It's like a
I think this episode will be out next week, so it will
So-
have just come out
just come out.
on
It's
Friday.
called
So go
Tonight
and watch
Alright.
it.
So go listen to it.
Tonight, all right.
Should be
Go
pretty
listen
cool.
to it now. There'll be a link
Right
in
now.
the notes. And
Just
all that
leave
kind
the
of stuff.
podcast and go listen
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. Go listen to it now.
We'll wait.
And then come back and listen to this.
We'll
rest of
wait. We
it.
just sit here for 5 minutes.
Yeah. So you just told me before you've quit your job. What are you doing now?
Right now, well,
What's the what's the world of
just for the next
you
few
come out,
months, just
yeah.
work on music as much as I can
Yeah.
while I look for another job. I just really hated my job.
Yeah.
I'm so over it. We've saved up a lot of money.
Yeah.
Getting some like government payments as well, which is pretty cool. Because I got all my hours cut while I was at work.
Oh, okay,
And I
yeah.
had a few little hours, but it was like stressing me out. I just didn't like going in. Didn't like
Yeah.
I'd think about it all day and it was like, so I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. For the little amount of money, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So I quit. We have heaps of money saved so I can just work on music until basically the end of the year.
Yeah.
Just apply for jobs and then when I get one.
Just find something new.
Yeah, like there's no rush. Like we're sweet.
yeah, that's cool, man.
So just doing that, working on music. That's kind of why I did the lo-fi thing as well. I'm like, well, if I got time, I may as well release something that I enjoy making. Plus, it gets tons of streams.
Yeah.
Like if you do it right, like not yet, but like, and that can be a little bit of revenue coming in. It'll
Yeah,
help.
that's it. Well,
Yeah. In between, like the
streams,
house
streams
release.
paid a bit
Yeah.
more, but yeah.
You know that
But
point
definitely.
0.003.
Yeah,
that
or
revenue
whatever it
coming
is.
in,
Yeah, I think it's like not hilarious because obviously as artists we should be paid more for streams.
Yeah.
But I remember I saw a Spotify or a thing with a petition where to sign to change it to 1 cent per
Yeah.
stream, and like I signed it because
Yeah.
I'm all for us getting more money as artists, and maybe it will go up as a result. But man, 1 cent's a lot. Like when you think about how many streams are on Spotify and how much
Yeah.
money they would need to pay out,
I
then
think
I don't know if 1 cent is realistic. It should be more than what it is, but I don't
Well,
know that 1 cent's.
Title pays like 1 cent, just over 1 cent
Do they?
per stream, but obviously they don't get the amount of numbers as
Because
Spotify.
no one's watching.
Yeah,
no
I
one's
know.
listening on it.
Yeah, I know. I wish everyone did get paid,
Yeah.
but then it would probably drop down to Spotify if everyone did. So
Yeah.
it's probably like a percentage they do.
But
I think
yeah,
it would definitely like because I remember maybe 6 months ago, like it was 0.006.
Yeah.
Like whatever, like a sixth of a cent for Spotify, and now it's a third of a cent or whatever. Like it's
Yeah, I think it should be more.
yeah, definitely needs to be more. 1 cent, like when you're looking at the dudes like Post Malone, like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You get like billions of plays.
Heaps, yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you calculated how many listens there are on Spotify in
Look,
total,
1 cent is probably still easy for them. I bet they make like tons
Yeah.
of money.
probably. I mean, I don't.
I think it's just blowing out now.
But
weren't
weren't I thought they'd been losing money for years.
No, I don't know. I mean, they have a
Pretty
billionaire
sure,
CEO, so I don't know how they're losing money if he's a
Well, the
billionaire.
CEO still gets paid what he gets paid.
Yeah.
That's built. That's probably why they've been losing
Maybe.
money. But yeah, like I think that they're one of those companies that's been in the like they lose money all the time because they're just trying to acquire new
Yeah,
users,
just
and so
like-
once you've got this huge user base and
they
you've got
do
the
now.
attention, it's like then you can start either running ads.
Maybe
or-
one
or
day,
paying
maybe
for it.
because they're now making a lot of money, we'll get 1 cent payouts.
Yeah,
You never
let's
know.
hope-
Could
let's
happen,
hope so.
happening right now.
But I think what we're going to see is, Joe Rogan's gone over for podcasting, which is going to put huge pressure.
Yeah.
This is going to put huge pressure on record labels. A lot of people don't understand this. Is that by Rogan going to Spotify exclusively,
Yeah.
it's going to take like how many songs can someone listen to in one Joe Rogan podcast? It's like 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's 3 hours of streaming of songs that people could potentially be doing, but
Yeah.
instead they're listening to a spoken thing. So it's going to mean that, like, I think it's already something like 30% of the time spent on Spotify by overall is for spoken word.
Oh, wow.
So like 30%
Crazy.
of people listening are listening to podcasts and things like that. So it's like if that ends up bumping up heaps more, and like most of the platform ends up being spent by people listening to that,
Labels are going to
it's like labels
be
are
like,
going to be like
Well, I think
struggling because
we're
they
in
won't
a
get the listens.
time now where I think you don't necessarily like labels are cool. It's really cool to go on labels and then
Yeah.
like have them with their promotional things and help
Yeah.
you out. But I don't think necessarily signing to a label. I don't think maybe like I've been self-releasing a bit lately. I got one coming out, and I enjoy it more, to be honest. I like having the control of it. I like doing it all myself. I like doing the promo myself. I like sending out like hundreds of emails. Like kind of, it's monotonous and annoying, but it's pretty cool. Like seeing some of the guys you look up to like respond and email you back. It's like really cool. And then plus all the royalties, you get all of it. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
It's also good to go on labels though. Like if you just really can't be bothered sometimes to do promotion.
or
and
if it's
that.
a good opportunity on a label or something.
Yeah, really
as
cool
well,
label in
like-
the scene with some really cool
Yeah.
guys. You get to meet them all because of it. Like that's really like
or even like a remix pack or something
Yeah.
that you can jump on and like and do something with some other cool artists who are on
Yeah.
that pack, and
well, I got my song Destiny coming out on 4th of September, and that's with Tomorrow, and it's on Asterix on their little sub label, and I'm pretty
Yep.
keen on that. Like I've had that one for ages. I'm excited.
Yeah.
They're excited on it and everything.
yes,
Just waiting on getting that one out. And I think that's
cool.
really cool because I got to meet a few like guys from that label who are like just really cool in the Australian scene. It's just good to know them.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you been going out much to see, like, how do you get your inspiration for the kind of music you're making now? Because like, you said you're sort of maybe going out less, and so how do you
Probably
sort
just
of,
like Beatport. I make my own like playlist on Spotify, and like I just listen to that all the time when I'm like when I go for a workout or just like even at home I just put it on, and I like updating it. So I like go on Beatport, just go through the top 100. Go on YouTube, just follow artists.
find your favorite
Kind of just
stuff,
comes, just songs just appear.
just by looking around.
Yeah, I
and,
like listening to tech house at home. So like, I'll be listening to more chilled music. So I'll make lo-fi, and then I'll listen to a tech house song and just get real pumped up. Like, I want to go in the studio. I want to make this now. Like, I love this.
Yeah, you get
Then I spend a week making tech house, and I'll leave
invested
it
in what
over it
you're
again.
doing. Yeah, cool. So any artists you found sort of that you really enjoy or anything?
Yeah, there's an artist called Chapter and Verse. I love his music. He makes like
Yeah.
real like upbeat, like fun, just tech house.
Yeah,
He's like, he's just pumping out releases. He's always in the Beatport charts,
Yeah, cool.
and it's like all his music
I
is
have to
so
look him
sick.
up. I don't know if I know him. I probably. It's so funny though. Like I always end up with like, because I don't necessarily follow too many artists per se, but I just sort of listen to music. You know what I mean? I don't go and look at artist stuff. I just sort of try and find stuff other ways. And so a lot of times people tell me about someone, and I'm like, oh man, I've never heard of that person.
Yeah.
And then I'll like go to like my computer or something, and I'll have like 5 of their tracks on my computer. Like,
I've never heard of that person.
Oh, he makes all these tracks. Oh yeah, I've definitely heard of him.
You hear that song, you're like, okay, I know this guy.
Yeah, I've definitely.
Like I've actually have his track in my project.
Yeah.
And I'm copying him now.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, cool. So, any other ones that you've sort of stumbled upon or you're loving?
Recently, I've been
any labels or anything.
Yeah,
that you
Hood
love as well?
Politics. Have you heard of that label?
What, sorry?
Hood Politics.
No.
It's like I think a tech ass guy called DJ Susan.
Yeah.
And I think he runs it. I've just been going through it lately. I found it through that chapter and verse he released on it, and I was like, "This is a cool label. I'll go through this," and then went through all of their like songs. I'm like, all of these are so good. Like they're all so nice.
Yeah, cool.
So I've just been like smashing them. Just and that's how I kind of find my music. Then I'll find a good artist on that. I'll be like, that's cool. And then I'll go to his profile, and then he'll have a collab with someone, and just like it just grows.
Find
like
it through other people. Who are doing similar stuff. Yeah.
I go through phases though. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes like recently I've been listening to a little like San Holo.
Yeah.
All that kind of music. Real like.
Yeah. So you still listen to a huge variety of music.
Yeah, I listen to a lot.
You love a lot of stuff.
Depends what I'm into. Like it changes every week.
Yeah.
1 minute I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make stuff like that, and then I'm like making tech house.
Yeah.
Then I'm making lo-fi.
Yeah.
And then I'm making like dubstep again for some reason sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I just all the time.
I just get back into have a bit of nostalgia.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm like, oh, can I like have I forgotten how to do sound design? And then I go and make dubstep. I'm like, okay, I can still do it. Luckily.
I can still do it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I started, I was hugely influenced by like the early Dead stuff.
Yeah.
So like the progressive sort of music is like something that I started making when I started. So I often go back to that and start like, just write progressive, just to be like, oh man, like we just want to make some progressive stuff because I find making progressive like kind of easy. Because you just add layers on, and not that I'm saying I'm amazing at it or anything.
No, that's
cool.
like that.
It's easy to just make.
It's sometimes good. That's why I like lo-fi because like I find it easy, but it's hard, but it's still easy, and it's good to like I'll spend a few days on a tech house song, and it's good to be able to make a song in lo-fi in like one session.
Yeah,
and it's like sometimes I don't want to spend like days on a song. Sometimes I just want to sit and produce for like 2 hours, and that's it.
Yeah, you just want to have.
And so it's good to do a genre where you are confident in that what you can make. So you're not like just wigging out over a mix down or something and getting real annoyed over it. Whereas lo-fi,
because you don't know what you're doing. Like it's different. Yeah.
Whereas lo-fi, I get to make like chords and everything and little melodies and everything and just real nice sounds. Whereas sometimes in tech house you don't really do like a lot of chords.
No.
So like sometimes I'm like I want to make them. I miss doing it sometimes. So that's why I've been doing a lot of lo-fi lately.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I think everyone should like try different genres.
Yeah.
Just something you like, though. Obviously, don't go and try. Like, if you hate dubstep, then try and make rhythm. Like, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah. It's gonna be similar. It's gonna be something you're gonna enjoy making. It's interesting because sometimes I'll try and start like a tech house song. Let's just start a project with more of like a chordal structure, like chords and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you go and you just sort of like write this song and it's like, oh man, it doesn't really sound right. Like the breakdown and the build and stuff is just too. I don't know. It just doesn't. It seems too different from the drop. Like, the drop's too like.
It's just so disjointed that it just doesn't work. And
it's like I'm sure there's a way to make it work, but it's like I'm not really there yet.
I did that the other day. I made like this tech house song. It was real like more vocal orientated, and I kept trying to add like these big synth drops for the drop, and it just wasn't working. And I spent hours, and I was getting kind of frustrated at it. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll just do some cool vocal edits in the drop, and it just worked, just so much better. And I was like, oh god damn it. Should probably actually listen to the music I'm making so I know so it like flows.
Yeah, that's it. There's always so much you can like improve on and stuff and
like all the time.
Yeah. What are there things that you've gotten better at from changing genres and stuff? Like obviously sound design's not as big, maybe arrangement you're talking about.
Yeah, mix downs for sure.
Mix downs,
yeah. I spent basically the time I switched to house was also a time when I was like properly getting into mix downs to like learn them properly.
Yeah.
Because like, it was so important to like know how to do a mix down. I just found it so hard.
Yeah.
It took me like 2-3 years like of just stressing. To
get
it. I don't know why it just took so long to get it. And still like now I hear my mixes and still be a bit annoyed with them. Like the other week, like I was just getting so angry at that song. Yeah. And then today I jumped on and realized it was just my sidechain and it's fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
That's it.
Turn on sidechain and that's why I went to store it. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I definitely mixes have improved. That was like a big one. I spent a lot of time on that.
Yep.
And just making a song that isn't with dubstep, what I used to do is like if it's sounding empty, I'll just add more. I would add like some more sounds. I'd add some crazy shit. Make the build up like crazy and that. Back when I made it, like the scene changed a lot since then. But now like I am really focused on taking stuff away
Yeah.
Like, do I need this extra thing? Like, is there even any point?
Yeah.
Maybe like do something else to make it more minimal. I just like that idea. I find that fun.
Yeah.
Of just
Taking
like,
away instead of adding,
yeah,
sort of. And I
just
suppose that helps with the mix down then too.
yeah, and it makes
Because
that a lot easier.
it's easier if you take things away to then boost
Yeah,
everything.
if you just have like a kick clap and
Yeah.
a hi hat rather than like all these other crazy things, it works.
Yeah.
But it's
for
also
sure.
kind of hard because it can sound empty.
Yeah, true, yeah. Because I love using, and that's what I love. Like for me about tech house is like the intricacy sometimes of the drums and stuff.
Just all the little things will come in
Yeah.
and out throughout the song.
little-
like
yeah,
sometimes you'll
yeah,
have like a
little
little hat
fills.
or a little like clap like fill. It only happens once.
Yeah,
I just really love that. I like just how these things just pop in and out.
Yeah,
Just keep
yeah.
you engaged.
yeah.
It's
Just
fun.
little bits and pieces
Yeah.
everywhere.
And I like how it's made to DJ. Like
Yeah,
You
that's the
make-
thing. Like we were talking earlier, it's like
Yeah.
like dubstep and all that is very in and out, quick mixes
Yeah,
from
yeah.
one, like a build up and then drop into the next
it'll
one.
be like
whereas-
a intro and then the build up and that. Well, like a lot of generic dubstep will be, but some of like the really good dudes push it with like some crazy shit. But like tech house, how you have like the radio edit and then you like the originally extended. Like I really
Yeah.
like how they do that. I think that's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool.
and then
for,
it's
like,
just
the
easier
DJs.
to mix and
Yeah.
stuff as well. But it's
Yeah.
fun too because I love, like if I'm just having fun and not playing to try and,
Yeah.
put something out or it's online or it's at a club or anything, I'll like literally just try and stay in the mix as long as possible. So
Yeah.
with like 2 tracks going or whatever, as long as I can, like not
It's
as long
fun.
as I can, but like really try and push it, and try and get
Yeah.
2 elements going, sort of thing.
I enjoy that how it's like songs are made and they kind of have all like there's a basic structure. like,
Yeah.
kind of. So you
So
like
you sort of know.
and you can really see it like where you need to mix in and that. So it's real fun.
Yeah.
You can start getting more experimental, I find. Like me.
Yeah,
I think I could do that. Whereas with dubstep, I was mixing really quick.
Yeah.
And
just
wasn't
in and out.
Yeah.
So one song to the next. One song to the next.
especially with the way that dub is like with dudes like who do like quad drops and double drops. Like that's so good. And I don't have decks at home where I can practice that, so I was never really confident
Yeah, to
in
do
doing that.
Yeah.
And like I didn't really want to do that, but I also really like how they did it. So like going to a genre where I can just do what I'm like capable of doing was like really fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta go to the bathroom, so let's
Mm.
have a little break and then we'll come back. See you guys soon. And
Keen.
we're back.
G'day.
We've done the things that we had to do. So what's like the goal? Like, do you want to actually like take this thing on the road and tour and do
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff? Is that the end goal? Because
Yeah, that's the goal. Like,
obviously you like you said, you're a bit more of a producer. You can DJ and you
yeah,
DJ,
I'm pretty
but
happy with
that's
how
how
I
you
can
started.
DJ. But I'm
Yeah.
mainly a producer.
Yeah.
But
So is the
definitely-
goal to sort of get the music out there and then
Yeah.
sort of, play off that,
yeah.
that you're doing
Yeah.
doing that kind of stuff.
I was gonna mainly like focus on that this year, but obviously with COVID, it's a bit of a hiccup there.
kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're still committed. I think the cool thing is though for someone like you is that you can spend that time on the thing that you enjoy more.
Yeah.
Is the production.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like you said, you've been doing the lo-fi and all that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff,
Been
and I'm
really
sure
enjoying
there'll
it.
be things that you'll learn from doing that will come in handy.
Definitely, it helped me
Yeah.
with the lo-fi too, because I was like real worried about like content for ages. I wasn't posting much.
Yep.
And everything, especially because like releases got delayed and everything because of COVID.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I kind of like do content around releases.
Yeah.
I don't really want to like jump on like Instagram and do like all the typical stuff. It's just uncomfortable for me to do that.
Yeah.
So I like to plan it around releases, but with the lo-fi project, I don't really care about it. So I was kind of just posting anything, and then
Yeah.
it kind of made me confident to start posting as Nadia. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, why am I thinking so much into this? Like, it's
Yeah,
just
that's it. Like once you
fucking
get
social media. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like once I got over that same thing, that hump of
Yeah.
it. It's like, oh, but will people like this? Is this cool? And
oh, is
like,
it up to the standard of all the other stuff? And I'm
yeah,
like, that's
now,
standard.
yeah, exactly. And now I just think like when you like think about, and this is what really highlighted it for me is I follow Gary V and everything he does and all
Yeah.
that. But I've got him on Instagram, right? And he puts out what like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 videos a day.
That's hectic. Holy shit.
And I hardly ever see any of them on my feed,
yeah.
and it's just like, and so that's what sort of put in my mind with like, well, like even if I do put this out, like most people probably won't even see it,
Yeah.
like, so
Yeah,
does it
yeah.
really like, is it really that big of a deal that I'm putting something out that might be a little bit subpar or whatever,
Yeah,
Um,
Like, But honestly, it doesn't. Like, I think we think way into how much social media actually plays a role than it does. I think you still got to like, yeah, it's really important to have like your everything on point. but I don't think it should take precedence over the actual music.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, I'm not
It's
like
still,
famous
I think
yet,
it's,
so who knows? I could be wrong.
I think they're both two parts of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But, like, I tell everyone, it's like, well, the music's got to be good to start with.
Yeah.
And the other stuff is the, like,
well, that's kind of why I stopped making dub. I wasn't really confident in it. Like, it was doing good and everything. It was doing actually really good. And it was probably stupid to stop because it was, like, getting a lot of plays. I was getting, like, traction and everything. But I wasn't enjoying it. And I was like, I don't really want to go into this scene not enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'd rather just take a step back and make what I want to make and then just focus on that. And I'm kind of really happy with where it's going now because I feel like it's more in control. I'm really comfortable with everything I'm releasing.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it all.
Yeah.
I think that's like really important to just enjoy the music you actually make.
Yeah, because I actually did like a consult with someone before last week who was like, oh, what do I do to get into, music? What should I be doing? Like, how should I be branding and labeling? And it's like, well, first of all, you got to figure out what you want to do. Like, what genre and what, because I see too many people who have like, over the years, they've started something because they thought it would be like the popular thing. And then like a couple of years later, they just end up hating it and give up because they're like, I actually don't like doing this.
Yeah, just doing it.
And it's like, I was just doing it because I thought it was popular. So like, that's a huge thing I tell people now. It's like, doesn't matter what the hot genre is or what your, what your friends like or what, is the big thing. You got to figure out what you actually like and want to do because you're going to be doing it for a while. It's not something you just like start and then all of a sudden you're massive in it and you can just then move and do like what Tiesto and Calvin Harris, all these big guys do and just jump to the new hot thing. You can't do that when you're... I
think it's really important to just always be having fun when making music because it is like a creative like thing you're doing. And from my experience, I found that if I'm like worried about a lot of stuff or I've got a lot going on and I'm not particularly happy with what I'm making, I'm not that creative.
Yep.
And I'm not really happy with the stuff I make. But now I'm like really comfortable where we live. I'm like really liking what I make and music's just coming so easy. Like it's not even... I don't have to think about it. It's like really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I find myself like on a day off where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have a day off today. And then I get bored and rather than like playing video games or something, I just start producing anyway. Because I just really enjoy it. And I think that's like real important.
Yeah.
When it comes to it. But also it's like, I know like, because I have some friends who are like at that level where they have all these ideas, but they can't make it. Yeah. Because they're not that skilled. And you just gotta get past that, like the first few years of that shit. Or the just like not knowing how to do things and then you eventually just pick it up.
Yeah.
Like over time.
It's like I've got the best idea in my head for a song. I can hear the bass line, I can hear the drums and everything, but I just don't know how to put it into the
And then
computer.
you go in and you do it and you don't know how to properly mix drums and your gain staging is all screwed and you're just like, oh my God, I suck, I'm gonna quit.
Yeah.
But no, you just gotta push through that shit.
Everyone goes through that, like
I go through that still now.
Yeah, and there's like moments where I find now and like throughout the whole time where you learn some new technique and you just sort of like, oh, this is amazing. How did I not know this before? Like, this changes everything. And then, crazy. Like, a week later, you learn a new thing. You're like, oh, how did I not know this before? Like, this changes everything. Like,
recently in FL, I just discovered what the patcher does. Like, that's so cool. It's literally just like racks in Ableton, but it's like structured differently. And I was like, how am I not using this? Like, this is amazing. It's so good. But I think the more I learn about production, the less technical my songs actually get. Like, I was struggling to do... I was overthinking everything.
Yeah.
I'd have like 1,000 plugins on like everything.
Yeah.
And now it's just like trash to a compressor and like EQ. And if like the sample needs a lot of work or something, I'll just get another one. If I'm spending ages on like a snare, unless I want a real specific sound, I'll just get another snare. There's like a billion out there.
Yeah.
Just get another sample. Just find a good one what fits your purpose.
Too many,
Yeah. Yeah. So much easier that way.
It's always like, the best music is simple, and that's why pop music is so basic and simple.
Yeah.
Like it's it's simple, and the best music isn't complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, some depends on the genre
and
what
it depends,
it is,
like dubstep, like you listen
a lot of it's very, very simple.
Yeah, like you listen to like Marauder and dubstep, and he's like the king of dubstep right now.
Yeah.
And like have fun making that.
Yeah. Is it real complicated? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know how to make it.
Yeah.
He's like, his sounds are just like so next level. He's like shaped like that heavy side of dubstep. Pretty crazy right now.
Yeah, cool.
It's pretty, like, I still like to keep in and like see what's going on. And I still enjoy dubstep. Still listen to it. Just don't really like making it.
Yeah.
Just wasn't.
Yeah. That's it. You got to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing against like sound design. It's just, not my thing.
Yeah.
I can still do it and everything, but I'd rather just make a bass line and a good melody.
Yeah. That's it. It's interesting you were talking, and you said just before about like instead of playing video games, you'd go and produce.
Yeah.
I actually like, because I used to be so into video games, in terms of like RPGs, like, and like just obsession level where I just like spend 16 hours a day for a week.
Just crazy.
And just destroy the game in a week. You know what I mean? And like just ridiculous, like stupid. But now I've turned production into like an RPG game. Like, so
sick.
I think of like, you know, my drum groove, like, oh, I got to work on this groove on these drums or something. I think of it as like a stat.
Level up my grooves.
My stat. Oh, I'm working on bass synthesis or bass arrangement or bass writing, you know, like upgrade that stat, you know, like, so I try and trick myself into thinking that I'm playing a game.
Yeah.
When I sit down and stuff. So yeah, I think that's a really cool way, especially when I was learning heaps, was to be like, all right, I'm going to do a tutorial on, you know, how to make, I don't know, how they do, you know, the drum pattern in Tech House, a certain one or whatever, when I was learning. And it's like, all right, cool. So I'm going to work on, if I watch this tutorial and then use that technique in what I'm doing next, it's like plus 10 drum
I remember it.
Drum sequencing, you know, so
plus 100.
Yeah, I love so I'm like, yes, I'm at level 67 now. But yeah, I love using that as a technique to try and, you know, reframe how I look at it. So it's actually like tricks myself into thinking it's a, you know, a game,
just like a game, so you can actually understand it better.
Or just so I'm like, you know,
just so you can see your progress as well and everything.
Exactly. That's a good one as well.
Leveling up. It's good to do that. Sometimes listening to your old shit and you're just like, oh my God, I'm actually so much better than I used to be. It's like, what was I doing back then?
Or you listen to a song and you're like, man, that song was really good.
I have a song that I've been sitting on for like over a year now that I just am too scared to release because it's probably like the best song I've ever made. And I'm like, I don't want to release it to no one because I'm not confident in like me being able to get it out enough. And it's just like my favorite song. All my friends love it and everything, but I'm just waiting for the right time.
Just got to pitch it to a big label or something.
But that also, because I lost a lot of stuff on my computer, I lost the project to that. So I'm not entirely happy.
You can't actually change anything.
Yeah, so I don't particularly
send it to a label and they're like, oh, it's good, but can you just change the mix down in this bit? And you're like, no.
No, I can't. Take it or leave it.
I actually can't. Just remake it. It's funny, I just hearing that I had to remake, I think 3 times a remix for someone a couple of years ago because my project kept crashing.
Oh my God.
And like it would corrupt.
It was
corrupting, so I would literally like lose it and not be able to, or I think I had like an early save and I could go back, and it just kept fucking up. So I literally had to remake it 3 times, and that was like the biggest learning.
I remember I had this problem in, I don't know what was happening in this one project. All the automation was just delayed, like at different times. Like it wasn't compensating the delay, so like everything was out, and I just had to go through every automation clip and just move it on it, and I ended up just scrapping it. I was like, I don't care anymore. Don't care about the song. I'm over it. That's also a good thing with like producing so much, is that I can make songs like pretty quickly. Which is just like, it's like how I like to work. Like I really don't dwell on tracks. If it's not working in like a few days, I kind of just scrap it.
As long as you get the idea down, sort of thing.
I like to get just the idea, flesh out the track, and then if I'm pretty happy with that, then I'll add shit in for like the week. And if it goes any longer than that, I usually end up just throwing it out. Yeah,
I always sort of think, I always feel that the mix down is the thing that takes the longest out of everything.
Yeah,
it's like the writing's like real quick, and then and then and then the arrangement's pretty quick too, and then it's like the mix down, you just end up like for ages trying to make it all work.
I've had some like sleepless nights because of mix downs. They drive me insane sometimes. Like I hate it.
What's your setup like at home? Like
I just got HS8 and a Rode AO1 like interface, which is like breaking. It's some reason it like bit crushes for like the first 10 seconds of sound. That's if weird. You're like using it. So say like I'm listening to a sound in like Google Chrome, and then I go to like FL Studio, it'll be bit crushed for like 5 seconds and then fade out. It's real weird. I don't know what the hell's going on.
That is weird.
I don't like. I think it's like broken. I might have to like message him about it. But I use that, and that just HS8s, and FL Studio Serum.
And what's your studio like? Your space that you work in?
It's in
like, is it treated at all?
No, it's not treated.
Any treating?
It's got a lot of stuff. I've put like a couch behind it and everything, just because it's like a studio and it's like the good room of the house. We like hang out in there sometimes.
Yeah.
And everything, and it's not treated or anything, but I kind of know what I need to worry about, like the bass in that room. There's a lot more bass than there actually is, so I know not to like go overboard with it.
Push it too hard. Yeah.
Plus, I do like the car test and like if like AirPod test and everything.
Yeah.
So I listen to that and I'm like, okay, like the bass is so freaking loud. Turn it down, like.
And you basically like heaps of it these days is we always think about that too in here is that you've got to make it sound good on like earbuds because majority of people are going to probably either listen to it on earbuds or like a laptop or something. You know what I mean?
or
Like a
on
lot
your
of people
phone.
listen to that kind of stuff.
The
or
phone
on
test
your
is really good.
Yeah,
Just play it on your phone. If you can't hear your sub in the phone and you kind of want to hear your sub, maybe like sort that out.
Yeah.
But sometimes like you don't need to hear it.
Yeah.
But like also if stuff is not mono compatible, you play it on your phone, you'll really hear. You'll be like, where the hell are all those sounds?
Yeah.
It's so empty.
Yeah.
So you gotta like think about
stuff.
that.
So you do a lot of like stereo stuff. I suppose that's a big thing with tech house too, like the stereo stuff, because there's heaps of those stereo effects that
like all those weird little things
do
and like
cool little stuff.
Drums and all that with like just like bongos going like everywhere, like all over your head and that. I tend to think about that. I found one of my tracks lately was like everything was center, and I wasn't really happy with that, so I had to go through and like just pan some things.
Yeah. Do you pan your drums?
Depends. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes a hi-hat I'll pan like left a little bit. Claps and that, kick and claps.
Yeah.
The main elements of the
middle,
drums will always be like dead center unless I want to try something weird like the hat on the left or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have like another layer on my clap where it's like really wide. So just I can get like that wide clap.
Yeah, you have to.
But if I
do you
have
layer
like,
your drums much then?
Yeah, kinda. So with my clap sometimes, if it needs more high end, I'll either use saturation and get the high end out, or if I just can't be bothered, I'll just get a more like a click or a more like high end clap and just put that on top. Cut out the frequencies that are gonna get in the way of the other ones.
Yeah.
Or just like drop them a bit and then that's it. I just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Then I'll maybe put them through like another like its own little bus just to squash them together a bit.
Yeah. Group them together.
Yeah.
And then what about like percussion and that? Is that something that you pan a little bit and stuff like that, or do you use much percussion? Or
yeah, well, I've got like a lot of loops that I've made.
Yeah.
That are like, I think I've kind of panned them too much because I tend to when I put my loops in, I tend to like I put like ozone like the imager on it, and I tend to like center them a bit because they're like way too panned and it's kind of noticeable.
Yeah.
I like to have my stuff panned where you don't like exactly hear it.
Yeah.
But if you don't pan it, you can really tell the difference.
Yeah.
You
Like what we were talking earlier about, when it's not there, you can hear, but it's,
I think that's like real important. You have like the main elements and then all your other things, you just make sure they're there just to fill it out. If you're going for that, like you could go for that real minimal like tech house, like Fisher or something where it's just like
it just depends,
man.
Man.
Basic stuff.
But that's such an interesting like part of like tech house, I feel, is that you do have those elements, like we were saying, that like you don't really hear them, but when they're not there, you notice.
Yeah, like if you just have this tiny little like girl like screaming in the back, just like over and over again, like and then you take that out, you can hear it sounds so empty, but you put it in, unless you're listening for it, you won't hear it.
Unless you know exactly. Like, if you hear it soloed and then hear the track together.
Yeah, and then you're like
you don't
really like trying to hear that, you can like hear it, but if you're not, you can just more feel it. I think I've recently just discovered that there's a lot of things like that in tech house.
Yeah,
just to fill
I think it's something that they use a lot of, and I think that helps with the groove.
It's probably with every genre, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it helps with that groove and the stuff, because then you like sort of you can side chain it or the way you ride it or whatever.
Like if you have some bongos just going like left and right, just like quite low, but they're just going left and right. You can kind of hear them and feel them on the side, and that's like enough to make it sound wide. Yeah, really cool and all that. Yeah, just cool little things like that I experiment with all the time.
Yeah. Little sort of different things. Yeah,
if I can be bothered to make loops.
Yeah,
I'll do that. Otherwise, I'm just like, whatever. I'll just have a real simple song with just like a kick, clap, and a hi hat.
Yeah,
and then the occasional snare coming in like 909.
Just a bass, just like a bass house tune. Because like that's what I feel one of the main different. Like apart from the sound, like the bass is obviously very different between bass house and tech house.
Yeah,
like the sound design of the bass.
The sound designs,
but like a lot of it as well, I feel is like the drums. Like the.
They're not as more like hectic. Like if you listen to like Salado, tech house, like that kind of style, there's like so much going on. There's like bongos and or like that chapter and verse dude I like talked about before. He has like a lot of like hi-hats, snares coming in and everything. Yeah. Whereas like bass house, it's like again like the sound design is like the main thing. The really cool weird arrangement. I've noticed a lot lately. Like what Matroda does, his arrangements like pretty. He's just really unique. Yeah. Like he just does his own thing and it sounds really good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Need to burp. So tell us a little bit about, we'll move away from music for a bit, but we'll come back, don't worry. Tell us a little bit about the whole journey getting into the vegan stuff, because I know you're like, big into it. And I've had a heap of debates with your girlfriend Amy about it. I'm like, no, that's not right. Like that information is not right.
That's funny.
We've sent each other research articles and read some stuff, and so I'm interested to to hear how you got into it and how it's going. Like,
I love it. It's good. I was telling Amy the other day, I was like, I don't even think about, like, I used to obviously, being vegan, you got to avoid animal products.
Yeah.
And I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
I just
You just know things you like to eat.
Yeah, I just know, like, it's just normal now. Like, I know I cook and everything. Like, I made like vegan ramen from scratch yesterday. Like, I made the broth and everything.
What do you make what's the broth out of then?
It was just like, I used onion, ginger, garlic, and shiitake mushrooms. And I just cooked that for like 4 hours.
Yeah,
just ages. It was so nice.
Oh.
Obviously, it's not the same as like the ramen where you got to use like the chicken carcasses and all that. Oh, it still tastes so good though.
Yeah, yeah. But you can still make, like, that's the thing. Like, you can make good food with, like, just vegetables and all that kind of stuff.
I know.
Like, there's heaps of cool, like, things like that.
I was really surprised when I went vegan. I was like, oh, this is gonna be hard. Like, god damn it. Like, I love meat. I love steak. Like, I'd eat steak like every day. Yeah. And then it was actually really easy. That was like really surprising. And because I was pretty overweight before I went vegan, I was like 120 kilos or something. Yeah. And then I just, over the course of a year, I lost 30 kilos. And obviously with the weight loss, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to go back.
Yeah, yeah. It's a positive thing.
I felt real good. I also started, I was just feeling like, I just felt better. I enjoyed it. And then I started like obviously looking into more of the more ethic stuff. And because we're fostering like cats at the same time.
Yeah, I've seen all this.
Yeah.
You're like, usually cats, I'm like, what is going on at their house?
We're fostering cats as well. And I was like, well, why should I wouldn't eat you, so why would I eat another thing? And then I was like, whatever. And I'm already vegan, so whatever. And don't even think about it anymore. It's part of life.
And I saw you guys making like some like proper like vegan bacon.
Yeah,
and
we made like
sometimes.
the fake bacon.
That's cool, man.
It's
like,
pretty cool.
How did that go? How did it taste?
It lasted for ages. We had like this big loaf that you cut. It tasted pretty cool. Obviously, it doesn't taste like bacon.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
Yeah,
that's what everyone's like. Because like one of my cousins, he got right into vegan. If you listen to the first episode of this, we have I start off by giving him a dig because he just got into veganism, and I was asking him about like tomato sauce and barbecue sauce, like saying like, is that vegan? And he was like, yo, yeah, it's just like tomatoes and that. And then I was sort of asked like, I was being a bit of a smart ass.
Yeah,
I was like, but how far do you go? I was like, because it's got the byproduct, because xanthan gum, which is what they use it to thicken. It's a natural thickener. Yeah. It's like a byproduct of bacteria. So it's a bacteria, and they feed it all this, sugar and stuff.
But is
and
bacteria sentient?
That's what my question was. Like, that's what my question was. Like, how far do you go, like, down it? And I was obviously just having a laugh about it. But and then one of my friends like actually like sent me a thing. He's like, no, there are vegans who are like microorganism vegans.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Who won't eat that. There's actually a vegan tomato and barbecue sauce that doesn't have that in it. Like they say, people sent it to me. They're like, no, you're like, there's people who do believe that and they won't eat it. And there's products for it. And I was like,
well, there's like crazy. Some vegans who do like the full raw diet who like don't even cook food and that and just have smoothies. I was like, I couldn't do that. It's like, that's crazy. Yeah. Like I know there's like plant-based, which is like, obviously you don't eat animal products. And then there's vegan, which is like, you just try minimize your harm as humanely as possible. Yeah. Like obviously, like if you need antibiotics and they're tested on animals, you still take them. Yeah. And if some animals might die when farming because for like your vegan food, but you still got to eat. So like it's just as you minimize it, as much as you humanly can. Yeah, yeah. That's how I look at it. Like I don't go out of the way.
It's interesting listening. Like
you're killing bacteria. Like what the fuck?
Yeah,
you still an ant, you piece of shit. Yeah, I don't do any of that.
But that's why I was like, giving him a bit of a serve. I was like, oh man, so what is it? And because he was just getting into it, he's like, man, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. So,
I started off just for health. Or I wasn't even like Amy was vegan. And then I wasn't, and I was like, well, I'll try it. She seems to be doing really good on it. And then I just started like dropping weight. Not unhealthily dropping weight, like I was like...
just good.
Because it was like over time, and I started feeling really good. I was getting back... I started, and then was more motivated to get back into fitness. Yeah, which was really good. And it just like really...
Because it's easier then too, when you lose like...
Yeah, like I hated 30 kilos. I'd like sweat all the time and everything. It was really uncomfortable. I was like real self-conscious how I looked, and I started dropping weight. So I was like, all right, this is sick.
Yeah, this isn't too bad, actually.
Obviously, it wasn't like instant. I didn't instantly one day I was like, that's it, no more meat. Like, I wanted to do that, but it was freaking hard. Like, to like do that, I would still cheat every now and then. Like, KFC was so hard to give up. Yeah. I do miss KFC, though.
Okay,
There's some things where I'm like, oh, I can't wait till I have their vegan version out.
Yeah,
just hoping it happens.
Because it'll be, eventually they'll figure that out.
They have, like, in America, they, like, trialed, like, vegan KFC, and it, like, sold out in, like, 4 hours or something.
Jeez.
I'm like, God damn it, can you do it now? Or not do it here because then I'll be in KFC every
day.
day.
Because it still won't be good for you.
Yeah, don't bring it here,
it'll be like they'll be like, how can we make this vegan KFC, and it'll end up being like the worst thing for you.
Well, that's the
planet.
Thing. Like, you can still be really unhealthy as a vegan. Like, I can get Hungry Jack's. I like the Rebel Whopper now, which is vegan. You get vegan Domino's. Like, you can be unhealthy and put on weight.
Yeah.
Like, the good one is like whole food vegan, but that's really hard. Like, I still eat junk food every now and then.
I think whole food in general is probably always way better.
Yeah, way better.
But yeah, I agree. Like, you know, like you said, it was like would be so hard. Like I went on keto for a while, which is like the opposite of a vegan diet. But
it's like more like high fat or something, isn't it?
High fat, high protein. Really, what I went on was like a modified keto diet.
Yeah.
Which is just basically like really super low carb.
Yeah.
You're not really pumping up your fat. Like a true keto diet is like 80% fat.
That's like the complete opposite of like what I eat. I eat just carbs, so much carbs. Like I eat a lot of like veggies, a lot of fruit, and like wheat bix like for brekkie every morning and everything. Just like if I didn't have carbs, I'd probably die.
Yeah,
I'd probably die of starvation.
But it's interesting because like what I found with that is it's easy to stick to a diet if you've only got that food in your cupboard and fridge.
Yeah, definitely.
Like if you've just got it filled with all the stuff that you can eat, it's super easy.
Yeah.
But like if you've got like, you know, like random bits and pieces in the house and you don't have all the stuff, you know, that's when it gets difficult. So like for you guys, it'll be easy because it's the two of you.
Yeah, well, we shop at like the farmers. We have like this awesome market down the road from us. We shop there. We just have like fruit and veggies. We just make shit.
Yeah.
It's like pretty. I've been like smashing ramen lately. I don't know why.
Yeah,
like,
ramen's good.
Every like night, I'm like, I need ramen. I'm gonna have ramen. I did that with like stroganoff for like a few weeks ago. Now like, I can't even look at it anymore. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's it. You just get into something so keen for it.
I've been drinking a lot of tea lately as well.
Yeah.
But I had like
normal tea? Like
black tea? Like black tea or like a lot of herbal. I make my own herbal now because like it's just real cheap. We just got like all the stuff. But like I can't drink black tea now because I had it before I went to bed and just could not sleep. And now, and I knew it because of the tea. So now when I look at it, I'm like, ugh.
Because people don't think that like tea has like.
No, like wrecked me. I couldn't
sleep.
In it. So often I was like, I'm never drinking that shit again.
It does actually have caffeine in it. Yeah.
Like green tea is like almost as high as like coffee or something apparently.
Yeah, green tea's
pretty hectic.
Yeah, but green tea's nice.
It's good. Wouldn't mind tea right now actually.
I love the jasmine tea that they do when you go to like Yum Cha and stuff.
Literally, I was watching The Last Airbender.
That's like so not a vegan place to go eat.
Yeah, Yum Cha.
Yeah, Yum Cha. It's like chicken's feet and like random shit. Like everything's got every animal.
They probably have vegan Yum Cha now, to be honest.
Well, there's definitely stuff you can get because like even my cousins are vegan, you know.
Yeah.
And we go there and stuff, and it's just so you just got to get heaps of the greens and the like. There's stuff to eat.
It's usually pretty easy. We have this Thai place where we just call up and we're like, we get this, but make it vegan, and they do. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I think that's like there's heaps of places.
I went
that
vegan
are vegan
at the
now.
perfect time, like when like all Coles and Woolies were like bringing out all their vegan products. All the fast food went vegan. And I was like, right when I went vegan, I was like, oh yeah, this is easy. Yeah. What am I on about? What's everyone on about? This is easy as.
And there's heaps of good vegan places around. Like, have you found any good vegan like places around?
Yeah,
Brisbane that you've been to.
There's a place. There's like a bakery, near Nogra. It's next to like Charlie's there or whatever. If you're like local to Brisbane, and it's called Vegan Yum, and it's this vegan bakery, and they make like the best pies. They like got thick meat in it and everything, but it's like vegan, and they're so good.
Yeah,
it's just this tiny little bakery.
Yeah, cool. That's sick.
Haven't been there for a while though.
Have to check that out. That sounds really nice. Because I find it, you know, being a single man, I've found that it's very handy to know a few vegan places around the traps because it's getting a lot more popular.
Each Street has a lot of good vegan stuff.
Oh, really?
If you go there, they have all those little vegan stores in it. It's cool.
Yeah, cool.
It's not even like hard. Like, I mean, I was saying like I don't even have to think about it now, but that's because it's a lot more accessible.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like there's heaps of stuff around and like stuff that tastes like, you know, I feel like back in the day, vegan stuff that they would make would not taste good.
Yeah.
Whereas now you can get it and it tastes good.
I hate almond milk. I think it tastes gross.
Yeah.
I can't drink that stuff.
Do you drink any kind of milk?
I just drink soy milk.
Yeah.
Like when I have my wheat bix, I say with soy milk. And that's all. I hate like there's some like the vegan like meats just have that vegan or vegan sausages have that vegan taste. I don't know what it is. It just has that like processed taste. Except for like the good ones like Beyond and all that. They're really nice. But some of them just taste like just gross.
There must be something that they like, some common thing that chemical they use that to give it the texture or there
is one like
fat feel or something.
Yeah, there's like some like they use a lot of, I know for the fat in it they put like coconut coconut oil in it
Yeah.
and everything, which isn't like good for you like at all. It's got like a lot of like saturated fat and everything. But like a lot of the vegan meats, some of it, like the sausages, the cheap ones will have this like taste. I don't even know how to explain it. You can taste it. You're like gross, but some of them now are just so good.
Yeah, that's what my mate said to me. Or my cousin who's vegan. He said, like vegan cheese, for example. He said, don't think of it as cheese. He's like, you got to think of it as a different thing.
Yeah, it's more like its own
not
thing.
cheese. It's its own thing. Like it's not
Actually,
the
some
same
of the
flavour.
cheese now is actually tastes like actual cheese. It's crazy. Well, I think I don't know. I haven't had cheese in ages.
Yeah.
It's been like 2.5 years. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Like,
which. Maybe I don't know.
have a
Which,
comparison.
like, yeah, man, it tastes like cheese, and you eat it. You're like, what the fuck? It doesn't taste like cheese.
But yeah, like I've sort of tried to stay away from milk and stuff as well because just lately, and
I didn't drink much milk. That was
I'm off
kind of
I don't even have milk in my coffee now. I have it black. Slowly wean myself off.
Crazy. I have soy milk in mine. I have like Bonzoy. When I get a coffee and they use like any other soy milk other than like the brand Bonzoy, I'm like, this is gross. It tastes nutty and weird. But Bonzoy is like the best soy milk.
But that's why I've sort of gotten used to it because I was like, I want to, because I was doing for a while like a thing where I'd do like 2-3 days of no meat.
Yeah.
Like a week to try and like, because I want to do the right thing by the environment, and the planet and that.
Or even that, just like, even like 1 day a week or one meal a week is like, even is still just so good.
Like if everyone in the world did 2 days a week, it would make a huge, 2 days a week with no meat. That would make a huge difference.
Just like, you'd be surprised at what you can make vegan. Like there's half the meals you eat, the only reason they're not vegan is because like the last ingredient you put in it is meat. And you're like, well, just don't put that in it. Curries and everything, you can make them vegan like so easy.
And then just to add heaps of spices and stuff, And
then I guess if you want something meaty, maybe just tofu. That just absorbs the flavor of everything around it. Because I had a lot of tofu, so I kind of don't really like eating it anymore.
Yeah, I think I made a tofu stir fry one night when I was doing it. But see, I was trying to do this 2 days a week, no meat while I was doing keto.
Yeah.
And that was so hard, man.
Because
it's like, I literally would have to eat salad, basically with no or just carbs, greens and stuff
just
like that.
Living off like cashews.
Yeah,
just
like
nuts.
heaps of nuts.
Yeah.
Heaps of I think I did like a tofu stir fry one night, but like just with like greens and stuff like that. So it's like it still has a bit of carbs, but like less of them and stuff. So
it'd definitely be hard to do keto vegan.
Oh, so hard. That's what I realized. Even doing those 2 days a week, I was just like
wrecked.
Like after but it was so interesting because of all the fiber and stuff.
Yeah.
And all the veggies I would eat in that day. Like
the
next day, just on the toilet, like, oh
like,
man.
I'm never doing that again.
Yeah. I feel like everything's coming out. I was just drained my whole body. All right. So what have we got coming up for you? Music wise, what's the goal? The end of the year, you said you don't necessarily have to get a job before the end. So does that mean you're going to work on a heap of tunes and stuff? Like maybe have you got anything in mind, like an EP or an album?
No, not really an EP.
Or...
I just want to start having more consistent releases. That's all I care about. I don't really care about like having one song that comes out every 6 months or does like crazy good. I'd rather just have consistent releases, just make sure that I have good music that I'm happy with coming out. Just so I'm like always just popping up. I make a lot of music as well. I don't like the idea of having music sitting on my SoundCloud not released. Yeah. I got like 10 tunes right now. And I just hate that. I hate that they're just sitting there. So I want to start releasing them and everything.
Yeah.
And sending some to labels and that. Definitely sending out the one coming out. Well, it'll be out by the time I think this is released.
Yeah.
I've been sending that out on promo and I've gotten some really good replies. Like I even had some guy like the label Low Ceiling. They asked if maybe send some demos over in it, which is like really cool.
That's cool when you can do that and like you send something and they're like, oh yeah, send us more.
I think that's really cool. I think everyone should do that with their release. Is like a few weeks before, just go through your SoundCloud of all the artists you're following. A lot of the artists have promo emails. Just make a spreadsheet with all those promo emails, then send them your unreleased tunes a few weeks before. If it's on a label, obviously get permission first. Don't just like, because they might not want you to do it. But like, send it to them and just like a little personalized message. Like it's monotonous, but it's cool because you like the artist. They're like your favorite artist. You follow them. And then just to be like, hey man, I love your tune. This is my one. You're coming out. What do you think? And then,
but make it personal, like you said. Like don't just send like a blanket.
Yeah, don't just email. BCC everybody.
Hey man, blah blah blah, and then just BCC.
I mean, if you want, you
like,
can do that, I guess.
But you should make it personal. Put their name in there. Give them a little bit. I mean,
it's kind of fun to do it because a lot of the artists I send my music to are like my idols anyway.
Yeah.
So like, it's really cool to just send them a little message to say that I'm a fan. I have a new song coming out. If I don't listen to it and they don't reply, who cares? whatever. But a lot of them like surprisingly reply. They like message you back, and it's really cool to see like these artists you look up to like message you
Yeah.
and say, "This is sick, man. Send more tunes later on." Just like I
Yeah.
think everyone should do that. I think it's really cool. It's a good way of like getting. I've been doing that, and some artists have added the songs into their playlists, which have like really helped. I think it's just like a fun little promo thing everyone should do.
Yeah, that's cool. And people don't want to do that like stuff that just takes like it's monotonous.
It is really monotonous. Like I've
But
been
it's
putting
you know what
it
I mean.
off.
People are lazy to do that kind of stuff.
I gotta
where
go
it's
home and
just
send like 40 emails tonight, and I don't really want to do it. But as soon as you start, you send the first email. You just keep going. It's fine. It's like really easy.
Yeah, cool, man. All right. So what if we've got the release that everyone should go listen to, which is called
Tonight, all right.
Tonight All Right by Nadia, which is already out on
Everything.
on everything.
It'll be on SoundCloud,
Everywhere.
Spotify, Apple Music.
And we'll have a link in the notes for everyone. But
Yeah, easy.
anything else you want to promote or you want to tell people about?
If you like
other stuff?
lo-fi, go check out Chester Terrace.
Chester Terrace, yeah.
Yeah. I think if you like that and check that out, it's pretty cool. I release like almost like every week on that, so because I just make these tunes and just release them.
Yeah.
I think if you like that, go check it
It's a fun
out.
sort of
I have a
project.
song coming out on Asterix on September 4th called Destiny. Pretty excited about that one. I've been holding on that for a while. And then see what goes from there.
Yeah, cool.
Obviously just trying to be consistent, so there'll probably be a lot more releases to come.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the
And I know
plan.
you sent me some stems before and we were meant to do it. But that was right. Remember I said to you it
Yeah.
was right before my laptop like died,
Yeah,
so I
and
had
that
to get
was-
them again.
I think we could make some more
Oh,
better
and
tunes.
it was
I think-
such a I felt so
we'll make
bad
better
too, but we definitely have to get in here
No,
and
I don't
work on
care.
some
Like we
stuff.
could just
so
make some better stuff anyway.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot more since then,
we'll
which
make
is
something
cool.
better. So
I feel like only recently I really, I guess, found my sound.
yeah, cool. Well,
like
so now that you've got that, that's cool.
It took
We can
like I think it was
do something.
when my first release was like a year, like basically a year now.
Yeah.
And like that was like bass house. I don't even
Yeah.
make that anymore. Like it's so different.
Yeah.
It took a while to find my sound, to get comfortable in house music, to fully understand it and actually know the artists and the scene. But
Yeah.
I think it's like paying off now, which is really
Figure
cool.
out what works or what
Yeah,
you
yeah.
like and stuff. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
worries.
I'm glad we got to eventually do this.
Yeah, it was
and,
fun. I had fun.
I'm sure we'll catch up for a beer again soon.
Yeah, easy.
So thanks. Cheers, everyone.
Too easy.
Have a
Thank
good day.
you.